And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Cole from Learn to Swim, and he's a Dolphin, been playing for just under a year, and he's doing pretty good. He's got a Bastila team, and he's running top 50 for both Fleet and Arena, and he doesn't really need or want help in those two. He's got a pretty good understanding and idea of those. He did have a quick question on who to focus on as far as gearing. So he finds that getting someone to gear 12 takes one person as long as he could do 3 other characters to gear 11. And he said, should I do gear 11 for everybody, or should I focus one at a time on gear 12? And my answer is excellent. Do 3 to gear 11 before you ever do 1 to gear 12. 3 at gear 11 is 3 times the development. Super smart, and you definitely want to do that. You're able to get more ground, more teams, more availability, and you can always go back and finish them by taking them from gear 11 to gear 12. If you happen to be a whale, which you're not, I would say just take them to gear 12 before you quit. But for you and your Dolphin state, I think you've spent a total of $300 to $500 in your lifetime. That is not enough to really worry about taking every character to gear 12. Obviously, you want to focus on gear 11 once you get there. You do eventually want to prioritize your gear 12 pieces because you're going to get pieces to take characters to gear 12 through the raids and through other events. And so when you get those and you're able to slowly take people to gear 12, make sure you prioritize, as always, of course, with Arena and then your crew members, and then eventually, your raid teams. Your raid teams are exceptionally important to get to gear 12 because they are going to help you place higher in the raids, which is going to in turn help you get more resources to put on these other teams. So the real thing, though, that you wanted for this, really the only topic in the entire thing, is the heroic Sith raid, because you want to make sure that you guys can go from tier 6 to heroic tier 7 in the heroic Sith raid. And you looked at your guild, and it looks like they're completely ready to go in phase 1 and in phase 4. And you have a phase 1 and 4 team already. JTR, you're starting to work her up and everything, so that's good. So you asked, should you focus on phase 2 and 3, since that's where the computer's bot is showing you guys are kind of low? And I am going to say absolutely yes, that is where you're going to want to focus. Obviously, you still want to have other teams such as Jedi Training Raid Team for phase 1 worked on, so you yourself can get your own points that you want to get when you're doing the raid, because you don't want to not score points in phase 1, because you want the biggest score possible to score the highest. So yes, Jedi Training Raid Team is important, but I'm going to suggest 2 other teams that are really important you focus on that aren't developed well, and then a 3rd team that is developed pretty well. So let's get the really good teams out of the way. The first is Jedi. They're really well developed. You've got Hermit Yoda almost to 7 stars, so keep going. General Kenobi almost to 7 stars, so keep going. You've got Ezra, Grandmaster Yoda, and even Bastila Shan. That top row is really great Jedis, and this team is almost pristine, so really they're already good. You do eventually want to finish them off slowly over time, but it's not a major focus. I just wanted to showcase this would be a great phase 1 team. Now, the first team I'm going to suggest that you actually really dig into, that be your, total focus, is actually going to be Bounty Hunters. And the reason for Bounty Hunters is huge. One, they now have a representation in ships, with Bosk having the Houndstooth and Cad Bane having the XB, as well as you are talking about wanting to get Chewie 7 stars when he comes back around, and so the Bounty Hunters are going to be the team that I suggest. Now, you can use Bounty Hunters in phase 1, 2, or 3. I will suggest with a Bosk lead, either phase 2 or 3, which is our focus for the Heroic Sith raid. For you, you're going to definitely want to focus in on that Bosk 7-star lead Zeta, and then Greedo, Dengar, Boba Fett, and Cad Bane. Those would be the ones that I would focus on as a team. Obviously, Jango Fett's really good, Embo's really good, Aura Singh's really good, and Aura Singh is the phase 3 leader. So if you get a real wild hair and you really want to go after a phase 3 team versus a phase 2 team, then you could go after Aura Singh and use her in your phase 3. But for the development path of least resistance, since you're a Dolphin, I would highly suggest your top row. Get them start up, get them geared up, and then Zeta Bosk. You're going to get really good results. It's going to help in ships, and you're going to be ready for Chewie the next time that he comes around. Bounty Hunters weren't enough development where you're going to have 2 to 4 months of development there anyway, I'm going to suggest another team that's going to take you even longer, and that is Nightsisters. Now, I know that was on your radar because you mentioned that to me, that you're thinking about Nightsisters, and this team really needs to be developed. It is one of the most powerful teams in the Sith raid. It's great with the territory battles, territory wars, offense and defense, and there's many events where you can use these guys as well. So I highly recommend you focus on this team. Talia is the path of least resistance for your team because you've already got her gear 6 with 6 stars. Asajj is 7 stars. Old Daka is 7 stars. But your zombie and Mother Talzin both need to be developed. Your zombie is 4 stars, level 1, gear 1, and Mother Talzin isn't even on the board. You definitely also will want to decide which one you're going to run as a lead, whether you do Asajj or Mother Talzin. At this point in development, I would suggest probably doing Mother Talzin's lead with Asajj Ventress unique. And this is why Mother Talzin lead is more durable and able to survive more with all of the reviving that you'll be able to get. And so because of that, you should be able to last longer at the lower gear levels, which is where you're at right now. So before you can even use the Nightsisters, really, you're going to have to get them all 7 stars, gear them up, and make them a big priority. But work on bounty hunters first, because we know bounty hunters are going to get Chewie, and that'll come back in the next, 3 to 6 months. So you want to be ready for that. And by the time you barely finish him, he'll be back. You'll get Chewie. You'll be happy. And then you can use Chewie in other territory war and territory battle teams, as well as using him in your phase 3 team, because you talked about Chex Mix and you're working on doing your Chex Mix team. Chewie will help with that Chex Mix team for sure. But the Nightsisters are going to be amazing in every facet, every area of the game. Make these guys your number 2 priority faction. Now, I've already given you more than you can chew on for the next 6 months, but I wanted to give you another faction to consider and to keep in the forefront. These guys are absolutely amazing. They're required in territory battles. They've got special events that are going to give you good rewards that you need them in, and they're just an overpowered faction. They work really well in territory wars as an offensive team, and in territory battles, they can chew right through stuff. They're also a phenomenal Sith raid team for phase 3, and so that is one of those things you want to consider. Also, you can use them in phase 2. In fact, they do really well in phase 2 as well against Scion, so that is something to consider as well. However, you are a significant distance away from being developed, but the top ones to develop are Range Trooper. He is absolutely insane. Snow Trooper, Death Trooper, Colonel Stark, General Veers, and Shore Trooper. Those 6 are absolutely amazing and should be highly considered as important. Now, keep in mind, the Imperial Troopers are going to be on the bottom of your priority list, but it's higher than anything else I haven't discussed yet. So definitely Bounty Hunters first, Nightsisters second, and then kind of at the end, Imperial Troopers. Now, as far as side projects, there's actually 4 side projects that I would suggest you put in your favorites and work on right now and through working on bounty hunters and whatnot. And the first is Grand Admiral Thrawn. He is one of the top 5 best characters in the game, plug and play. He's absolutely amazing, and he's gear 7 for you. You should not have him at gear 7. You should have him at gear 12. He's one of those absolute must-haves at gear 12, and he's going to change things for you, but you've got to max him out. Number 2 is Han Solo. You're looking at developing your bounty hunter so you can get Chewie when he comes back. But when he comes back, you're going to look at your Han Solo and go, dang it, I wish I would have geared up my Han Solo. Han Solo is one of those characters. He's not only a raid chase character, but he's absolutely must be at gear 12 for his durability. He is one of the squishiest characters in the game, and his Zeta is absolutely worth it. While you read it, you may say, I don't really get why a second shot matters. It's massive. So you definitely want to put Han Solo on the sidelines and start developing him in your favorites as a side project, just like Thrawn. The next two come out as Sith, and I know that a lot of people feel the Sith are dead, but you're going to use these guys in territory wars, territory battles. You're going to use them in lots of events, and they're just amazing. Plus, when you finally hit the Sith Raid Heroic and you start earning those Treya shards, you're going to regret not having developed these two characters, and you can guess it, that's right, Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion. Darth Nihilus and Darth Sion, even just the two of them combined, make for a phenomenal duo. Now, you have them both 4 stars. You're going to have to star them up, obviously, to 7 stars, which is a slow grind, which is why you need to put them in as side projects, just like I mentioned with Thrawn and Han. Thrawn and Han. And Darth Sion and Darth Nihilus need to be geared up. Get them to level 85. Get them to gear 12. These are both gear 12 characters for sure. So Cole, things are looking really good for your arenas. It looks like you're pretty prepped for the Sith Raid. You guys could try a heroic Sith Raid. Take your time and see how well you place. And if you fail, it's only one failure and you'll at least know how close you are to getting the Sith Raid done. You could also bring in 1 or 2 mercs to kind of help you through and get you through the first 1 or 2. But yes, focus on phase 2 and 3. Your Jedis are looking pretty good, so you're going to want to really hyper focus on bounty hunters first, Nightsisters second, and Imperial Troopers third. This should help you for the Chewie event when it comes back around. It will help you in arena, as well as remember the side projects. Thrawn, Han, Darth Nihilus, and Sion, those guys are definitely worth having in your favorites and working on over time. Get them leveled up. As always, if anybody has some suggestions, leave them in the comments down below, and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.